Let's be clear on what really happened today. The Resolutions Committee voted to pass a resolution condemning the corrosive influence of all dark money in Democratic primaries. We had various resolutions that focused on different industries and groups, and instead of going one by one, we passed a blanket repudiation. I've made my position on this clear from day one. We must end the influence of dark money in our politics and restore power back to the people. I don't think that's true. The resolution that got rejected was a blanket resolution. It's just people talked about AIPAC because everyone knows when you talk about evil, corrosive, dark money, you're talking about AIPAC. I don't think that's true. He's not, I don't even think he's representing this clearly. I think he's saying that, like, the Democrats have in the past issued banal resolutions condemning dark money, but this one got rejected because even though the text wasn't about AIPAC, everyone knew that it was about AIPAC. They passed one that was a more blanket one earlier in the stream. I don't know if that's true. What was the text on that one? Okay, genuinely, if you want me to believe that, find the text on that one, because there's a reason why this one got rejected and some dipshit in the fucking committee said, this is anti-Semitic. There's a reason. 1 second. The big problem is that only 60-year-old people plus turn out for DNC official elections, so they get filled with boomer centrists because nobody else turns out. Isn't that like kind of a fundamental problem with the party, though, that the structure is laid out in such a way that these boring, banal, back-end committee elections get to decide, oh no, it actually, like, because you didn't pay enough attention, our cabinet, our secret committee is filled with evil pro-genocide people. You didn't pay enough attention, sorry. The will of the voter is no longer relevant. It goes beyond just the DNC. It's obvious that Democratic politicians are also subservient to Israel, right? That's kind of how parties work. Not really, no. Normally, like in America, politicians are supposed to follow the will and the interests of the people. Democratic politicians, hundreds of them all across the country, are personally choosing to commit electoral suicide by kowtowing to issues that don't align with the interests of their voters. Like, whether or not the DNC as a top-level org is willing to divert more funding to them, or whether or not they give them support or whatever else, like, the politicians are meant to represent the interests of their voter. That's how they get the votes, you know? The DNC should just be deciding, like, banal back-end, how you run the primaries stuff. The lady who called it anti-Semitic only got voted in with 3,500 votes. Why do these people act like it's Israel or death? Listen, if you want to know why Democrats are all subservient to Israel, holy shit, you're posting a lot. Watch literally any one of my streams. You've been here for a lot of streams, so I know you've heard me talk about this before. I feel like it's greater than just America. The detachment from the European left and the actual European left is a big problem over here. Oh, you mean the fact that, like, every single European social democracy is subservient to Israel and America, even though the voters despise both? Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. Capital interest, man. Capital interest. I'm telling you. Liberal democracy doesn't work. It's self-defeating. Because economic liberalism always defeats social liberalism. What capital interest causes India to, for example, to love India? Or sorry, that causes India to love Israel? Oh, that one's easy. The population's super Islamophobic, so they see Israel as like a hammer against Muslims. And also, fascists and corporatists in India benefit from their population being far right, because far right ethno-nationalist citizens are dogs who can be walked. They are cattle. They are the cows they refuse to kill and eat. So, you know, it's to their benefit. People who are aware and conscientious and class conscious are much, much, much harder to control. If you keep your entire population slavering like animals over the death of Muslims, it's way easier to get them to do whatever you want. The average Indian, just judging from the disposition of the country, would rather live in shit and live with like an average GDP per capita of 5 if it meant getting to be fed their Islamophobic slop, rather than reject both and unite as a class-conscious working entity. That is changing, of course. It's also a country of like 1.5 billion people, so, you know, a lot of people there. But, you know, that is a disposition. The timestamp for the broader resolution being discussed is 27:22 on stream. Okay, let me take a look at it. Wah, wah, wah. What'd you say? You said 27:22? So here's the one they passed, even if they rejected the later one?
Approval, adoption of the resolution. Is there a second? Second. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? I'll recognize Sandra Lee Williams from the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion to amend this resolution. A packet has been provided of amendments to the staff for the committee's consideration.
Okay, they're striking out any specifics from this one on AI and cryptocurrency, regulation, labor protections, financial
Can I go
oversight.
forward?
Yep, you want to speak to those amendments? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I urge the members of our committee to adopt the package of amendments. Last August, our committee adopted a similar resolution that sought to limit corporate and dark money spending in primaries. As part of an effort to prepare for the 2028 season and to eliminate yard Democratic
Vote opposed? All right, the amendments are now included. Now we will vote on the resolution.
Inclusive of the amended?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Just want to make it clear.
No. All right, is there any further discussion on?
Okay, that one passed, and they struck out any specific mentions of AI, cryptocurrency, or any other specific things they're rejecting dark money alignment to.
Recent Illinois primary election, AIPAC spent we have the hard conversations. This moment necessitates urgency. It necessitates that we have the hard conversations. In the recent Illinois primary election, AIPAC spent $14 million in the Democratic primary alone. It's money that influences where we are as a party and brings us further away from our base. So with that, we must end the huge gap between the opinions of our voters, our base, the people that sent us here.
Okay. This doesn't change my assessment, but I'm willing to acknowledge that I was incorrect about one thing before. The earlier amendment was transformed into like a blanket condemnation of dark money spending. That being said, this council must also condemn AIPAC specifically, the unique evil, the demon among demons. It's not sufficient. Also, the fact that the greatest defense offered against ratifying this proclamation is that it's anti-Semitic to specify AIPAC, whereas they didn't say so for the like AI or cryptocurrency stuff beforehand. It indicates like the underlying problem, right? This still reveals the underlying deference that the Democratic, that the DNC treats AIPAC with. Though I was wrong when I said that the earlier statement was not a blanket denunciation. It's that they watered down their non-binding resolution. Yeah. Well, that's the problem, right? The earlier one, they watered it down because they say they don't want to take dark money, but they also don't want to anger dark money groups by saying that they specifically don't want to take dark money from certain groups, right? AI, cryptocurrency, labor rights, or whatever else. And likewise for AIPAC. So it's a non-binding resolution that would have denounced dark money spending from, among other things, AIPAC, but they can't denounce that because they, still want AIPAC money, as that black guy specifically argued. That being said, yes, my initial framing was technically wrong, though doesn't really change my my conclusions. Thank you for providing me more info.
I come from...
Did it define dark money in the resolution? Seemed vague. Well, they don't want any on the table condemnation of AIPAC specifically. Like everyone listen, Democrats are against dark money in the same way that Republicans oppose pedophilia, They're against the idea of pedophilia unless it comes to prosecuting literally any pedophile or doing anything about pedophilia, in which case they're all for it. They don't want to name AIPAC specifically because a blanket denunciation of dark money means they get to pretend that AIPAC doesn't fall within that category.
The CIA, I enjoy winning things. I want to win in November, in 2028, I want to win. So that means being honest about where the Democratic Party needs to go. We don't help ourselves by pretending we don't have a problem, okay? So here is my humble suggestion on how to think about the Democratic Party. First of all, as we were just alluding to, staying on defense only doesn't win anything. You must go on offense to win. That's any athletic team, as we saw yesterday.
Just not like against Israel or any pro-Israel interests, no matter how unpopular they may be, et cetera, et cetera.
Today with the University of Michigan winning the NCAA. Sorry, I had to gratuitously. And thank you to all the legislators wearing blue today. We appreciate you. Go blue. But you cannot win by playing defense only. So what's offense look like, right? And I would argue that the differences in the Democratic Party today, we used to talk about, are you a progressive or are you a moderate? Like, where are you in that scale? That's not the debate anymore.
Really?
The debate is not between progressive and moderate. It's fight or flight.
Because it seems like all the progressives are interested in fighting and all the moderates are not interested. I don't know. Like, what do you mean by that?
Are you here, and do you believe that if we do not fight for the values of this country, it's going to go away? Or do you believe that if we just wait, if we bide our time, eventually what
CIA rhetoric. Slotkin would kill every single one of you if she could, if it meant a single extra dollar of aid to Israel.
Trump does will piss people
She's
off,
not
and
tone
they
deaf,
will
she's
boomerang
evil.
on him. And Alyssa, don't worry, people will come back to the Democrats once they get frustrated enough. No, there are plenty of people that I serve with who are on team flight. And I will tell you that I am a good Midwestern Democrat. I fall more on the pragmatic and moderate side of the House, but I am on team fight 100%.
In what specific way?
100%.
In what way? Give me something that isn't a platitude.
So, you guys are Iowa. You're going to see every Tom, Dick, and Harry candidate come through here, right? And I want you to ask for what their offensive plan is, their Project
What's yours?
2029. What is their value?
I love adopting the terminology of the Republican Party, Project 2029. Yeah, that's really good messaging.
Proposition that they're going to offer to the American people that's going to offer an alternative to what Trump is doing, rather than just pointing at him and saying he's bad, he's bad, he's bad, he's bad. We know that. Okay?
What do you want to do?
And here's what I'd humbly offer as a good Midwesterner, a good Midwestern Democrat. The things we're fighting for are not that complicated. We need to get back to basics a little bit.
Like what?
Okay? And that Midwestern pragmatism, basically, we just need to show people that what we care about
2 minutes and 30 seconds in, we haven't heard a single policy or a way she wants to fight.
is an economy where if you work hard and play by the rules, you get ahead. And
wow, crazy. Something literally every politician ever, from Stalin to Hitler, from McConnell to Bernie Sanders, has said. What a wow, incredible. You believe in the concept of meritocracy? That's so interesting. Wow.
your kids do better. We need one job that pays you well, where you have good benefits and you can save every month. You have a home you can afford. You're not waiting until you're 50 years old.
I've never heard this rhetoric from Republicans before. This is totally new and novel to me, man. It finally feels like we're fighting.
Buy your first home. You can actually afford a home and raise your family in your own home and build equity. Your kids can...
And build equity. Oh yeah, we want to make housing cheaper, but also we still want people to use housing as a speculative investment. How we're going to make housing cheaper while also preserving it as an investment vehicle? Don't ask me. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. But yeah, homes are for equity. They're not for like living in. Yeah.
Go to a good public school and be educated for the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past.
Wow.
Right? You can have health care that's as good as around the world, that you don't have to go bankrupt over.
Wow.
That isn't a racket. And in my mind, I believe that's a national insurance plan for anyone at any age. Anyone at any age. We can have a common set of democratic rules that we all play by, so that no one man or no one team can abuse the system.
I heard just that from Trump the other day. That's crazy. We're about to end the clip, by the way. She still hasn't said a single thing she wants to do. Not once. Keep in mind, she's not just a random junior senator. She's the one the Democrats are elevating to be the new front. She's going to be the next Schumer, without a doubt. Almost guaranteed she's going to be the next Schumer. She's going to be the, and she's better, because she's a woman. So you get to do even more disingenuous id poll. She's going to be the next, like, elevated, centrist Democratic senator who they use as a majority or minority leader to blunt any progressive opposition.
The way that we're seeing now. And we need a new generation of leaders that think different and work harder and never forget who they work for.
Wow.
Those, there's going to be a million things that Democrats, we're the party of the Big Ten. We care about a lot of things.
Unless you're critical of Israel, in which case Third Way and our billionaire-backed pedophile attack dogs will go after you for being anti-Semitic or whatever.
But what I would offer is that...
Except unless you're Hassan Piker, who is being ostracized largely for having opinions that align with the majority Democratic voter. Yeah.
We have basically trained leaders over the last 30 years who believe in consensus and making everyone feel happy. Right? And we want that. We want everyone to feel good. But we need to win in order to enact the things that we care about. So win first. Win first.
Yeah, where's the land acknowledgement? Look at Dems if you want to abandon hope. Yeah. Looking at Republicans and their incompetence makes me feel hopeful, and looking at Democrats and their malice makes me feel despair. Probably not good for like the future of the country or the party. Sweet home Yerushalayim, boom, da something blue. I don't know the lyrics, man. Worth noting, Slotkin's only a Democrat because to be a Republican is to be a Nazi at this point. I don't know. I mean, she supports Nazism. She supports Zionism. You know what the difference is between a Nazi and a Zionist? The Nazis haven't gotten anything done from a policy perspective in 80 years. You know what the difference is? The amount of influence they have over American politics. All right, well, I'm mad as hell. I'm so mad right now. Well, Nazis are in our government right now? Yeah, and what are they getting done? Have they established a white ethno-state? No. Is Israel currently establishing a Jewish ethno-state? Yes. Sorry, man. Miller gets to be, you know, deputy chief of staff, and what does he preside over? Ooh, ICE is deporting less illegal brown people per day. What does Miller get to do? Miller gets to preside over a system in which Hispanic ICE agents deport white Americans. Wow, quite a white ethno-state you're building. Then you go over to Israel, where like every day, every settler gets handed an AR-15 by the IDF and gets told to kill 3 Palestinian children. I don't know, man. It seems like the Zionists are doing a much better job of establishing their ethno-state. Watch the cortisol, brother. They need to invent bloodletting, but for cortisol, right? There needs to be like a place you can fucking poke a hole in and let it flow out like a needle, you know? Cortisol letting? Yeah, fill up a bucket. They need cortisol leeches. Where would you store the cortisol? I'd toss it out my window like a Victorian slop bucket. I'd let it land on the plants and see if it makes them big or small. Why do you think Dems are so cooked in any kind of messaging? You guys have to stop pitching me these rhetorical questions. Subservient to capital. That's it. Subservient to capital. Republicans have developed a strategy for being subservient to capital while also being popular with their base. It's called bigotry. Bigotry allows you to hand over symbolic victories to your constituency while actually fucking them over. You distract them from the issues that affect their day-to-day lives so you can appease them with shit that doesn't affect their day-to-day lives. The Democrats, naively, stupidly, have more or less abandoned that project. They've decided to be the party of liberalism, at least on paper, so they have to find other ways of appealing their base. Unfortunately, because they're also just as subservient to capital as the Republicans, they haven't yet found a way of doing that.